Thank you very much, General. Ladies and gentlemen, I do beg your indulgence. We have a few questions from our WhatsApp group. The first question, Deputy Minister Nel. Given the recent incident in Mpumalanga where a prosecutor reported feeling unsafe while on duty at a magistrate's court, what immediate steps is your department taking to assess and strengthen the safety and security of prosecutors and court officials in magistrates' courts nationwide? Specifically, are there plans to review security protocols, increase physical security measures, and provide additional support mechanisms for prosecutors who face threats in the course of their duties? And that's from the Gauteng Network, Cindy Somhlabati. The next question we have, does the SAPS keep statistics or data of crime committed by South Africans versus non-South Africans? That's from Eyewitness News, Tabiso Goba. Lisa Lee Solomon's News 24 is asking the Minister, in September 2025, at the Mitchells Plain Police Station in Cape Town, the Minister boldly stated that there was no clear plan in place to tackle gang violence. The Minister also instructed senior police officials to develop a strategy and present it to him. Can the Minister advise whether there is now a gang violence strategy in place? Have any presentations or progress reports been submitted by the officials since then? The next question is from Mfanelo Zanibe, Tembisa Online News. How is the SAPS planning to address a matter where there are arrests made, but the courts set the suspects free even before making it to the court roll, especially in kidnapping cases? The next question says, we've seen various March and March Action SA protests calling for protesters to wear masks and not record anything. How prepared is the SAPS for the June 30 protests? Then we have a question from BBC News, Kanyisile. Minister, we've seen several arrests in recent months by the task team established as a result of the Mpumalanga Commission. While these arrests have been made by the task team, we understand that these arrests have no relation to the hearings at this stage. Why make these arrests now, and do you rule out more arrests being brought against the accused down the line? The next question, is the decrease in the crime statistics attributed to a broad systemic shift in police capacity, or is it localized results of targeted hotspot interventions? Then the last question has a number of questions in it. We have a question from Tamsanga from the Daily Sun. First question, how many police reservists do we have in South Africa and across police stations? Second part, have the police fulfilled their promise of automatic or unconditional integration of these reservists? If not, why not? What are the steps being taken to ensure that reservists are quickly integrated? A Northwest source tells me that quite a number of suspects in the CITs across the country are former police reservists that got training from the SAPS. Can the SAPS confirm or deny? In the last question, how does the failure to integrate reservists into the SAPS negatively influence the police work? Some have been with the SAPS for over 20 years, yet still continue to face ill treatment, delayed payments while working on serious crimes, including murder. Those are the questions that we have. DM, are you ready? Okay, we can take the DM.
No, thank you very, very much to the network for a very, very relevant question, because much as our responsibility as the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster is to defend the people of South Africa in line with the Constitution, starting is to also ensure that those who form part of the JCPS are safe and can carry on discharging their duties without fear, favor, or prejudice. In that regard, I want to take a step back and before I get to prosecutors, say that as the department, we work very, very closely with the South African Police Service to provide security to our judicial officers. South African Police Service is responsible for conducting threat assessments. The department itself does provide private security in certain instances to safeguard judicial officers who are under threat. Secondly, with regard to prosecutors, similarly, we would rely on the South African Police Service to do threat assessments and, where necessary, also to assist in providing security. The Minister has been very, very passionate in advancing the cause of ensuring that prosecutors are safe. We have had a number of cases where prosecutors have been killed. The Minister has attended and spoken at those funerals, and also made an appeal to the media to be judicious in how they televise court proceedings, and, as far as possible, to avoid focusing on judicial officers and prosecutors. Together with the Minister of Police, we have also intervened in a number of violent hotspots, in particular in the Western Cape, where there have been shootings outside the court precincts, working to increase visible policing and also to bring mobile stations at some of those courts to make sure that our courts can be sanctuaries where people feel safe to seek justice. Thanks.
Once again, thank you for the question. So, when I first visited the Western Cape, I think it was in November last year. Was that the first time? September. And it followed some incidents in Mitchell's Plain, Philippi, in those gang areas. And I got a briefing then from the provincial commissioner, and I came to the conclusion that the police were struggling to bring the gangs under control because there was an issue around the resourcing of the anti-gang units. I wasn't convinced that there was access to the kind of intelligence that is needed to infiltrate the gangs and so forth. So I then said publicly that what I thought, because I think that the community understood what I was saying. That it was confirmed by their own experience. I came back to Gauteng, shared that view with colleagues in the criminal justice cluster, and got to work firstly on reformulating an organized crime strategy. I can confirm now that that strategy has been concluded, and that the South African Police Service has done excellent work. I'm confident that that's the right strategy. But the strategy has to be properly resourced and implemented. So what were the further steps that we then took? You will see in the MTF, in our budget, you can look at that budget to see to what extent resources are being made available to fund